Training paused at 3 hours, 13 minutes. Training stopped.
Are you two,
You're right on time. Agent Jensen was just agreeing that we need to bring Rucker in.
Quick snatch and grab. Should be easy enough.
So we've already decided he's guilty?
We just need to talk to him on our terms, not when he's surrounded by fanatics. Getting into Gollum isn't the problem. Reaching Rucker is. Ark territory is fiercely defended. No one sets foot in there.
Not even the state police?
They can't.
Rucker wasn't forced into Gollum City. He bought his way in.
Blackmailed would be more apt. He threatened to go public with evidence of a humanitarian crisis. One that the United Nations Security Council had swept under the rug.
Got them to force the Czech government to hand over part of the Utilek complex to him. A little bit of hush real estate, so to speak.
He stays quiet and guarantees safety for himself and his followers. Smart. So how do I get in?
I've made a deal with an Ark prospect named Tibor Sokol. Promised to get his family out of the complex, so long as he gets you past Ark's checkpoints.
You trust him?
We have to. It's that or nothing. Sokol will meet you at an apartment in the housing district. Number 237. Any questions?
You ask me. Rucker sounds more like a savvy politician than a terrorist.
These days, the lines tend to be blurred.
But Rucker was a highly respected doctor, with no military training. What am I missing here?
Rucker is a man of deeply held convictions, with an unshakable belief in his own righteousness. Doesn't take much to push a man like that to terrorism.
Man's a zealot.
He's a suspect. Just bring him in.
You really believe Ark is responsible for these attacks? For all of them?
Ark has had the means, motive, and opportunity every time.
Even Dubai? Rucker and the Coalition are still confined to Gollum City. They have a heavy police presence keeping an eye on them.
Gollum isn't a concentration camp. You grease the right palms, you can get the papers you need to come and go.
I find that hard to believe.
So get me the evidence to prove otherwise. Get to tell us, Rucker, and bring him in, Agent.
Let's get this over with.
Let me know when you've got Rucker.
Goddamn, Jensen. Every time I look at you, I can't believe the amount of jewelry you've got on. Tell me, how's that aftermarket shit working out for you?
Never better. Maybe you should reconsider. What with that limp?
No. I like my limp. Keeps me honest. Ready to light out.
You're my only backup on this one. Before we leave, I'd like to know you've actually got my back.
Trust me. I flew 10 years in the SAAF and 5 in the private sector moving corporate heads. And in all that time, I've never lost a fare.
How many years with TF-29?
2, which is a year and a half longer than you from what I understand. So you want to keep talking resumes, waste more of our time? Or will you trust me to get the job done?
Let's do this.
Good. Strap in.
But still we have no answers. No one has yet claimed responsibility. Dr. Talos Rucker, the leader of ARC, posted a letter condemning the attack. Sources close to the investigation, however, tell me that Rucker and ARC may be behind it after all. I don't know about you folks, but with the upcoming...
Interesting pre-game ritual you've got there. You getting pissed enough to end this guy yet?
I got a no-kill order.
Is that right? Would have thought he'd done enough to warrant extreme prejudice.
How far out are we?
Coming up on it now. Not many spots I can set her down. You got a preference?
Get as close to the ground as you can. I'll take it from there.
Whatever you say, boss. Jensen, still got all your parts together?
I'm fine. How close did you get me to our contact's location? I was in Unit 237.
Jesus, Jensen, I didn't put you on his doorstep. Residential sector should be just ahead of you. Me, I'm gonna switch to autopilot, have a coffee. Let me know if things get interesting.
Are you feeling all right?
It must be somebody else.
Just block it out.
Just passing through. Laissez-moi partir. I don't suppose you've got any neuropazine you can spare, do you?
I have what you're looking for, but new pause isn't cheap, nor is it easy to come by.
Fresh off the boat and already fitting in. Fine. But cash is a pretty scarce resource around here. I prefer dealing in information.
What kind of information?
Give me the neuropazine first, then we'll see.
Here. Now what have you got for me?
There's a so-called market in this complex. On your way to it, you'll probably see some storage units.
I'm listening.
One of them belonged to a patient of mine. A freedom fighter. Who no longer needs it. You might find something useful inside. Here's the code.
I'll check it out.
Word of advice? You might want to keep a low profile tonight. Golem City can be sketchy in the best of times. This definitely isn't one of them.
Why? What's happened?
Haven't you heard? Terrorists try to blow up Rosika Station. And even though people here couldn't have had anything to do with it, the cops need someone to blame.
Where I come from, cops are supposed to be the good guys.
What planet is that? Because where I come from, the police have been militarizing for years, wasting money and inciting deep levels of mistrust between them and the very people they're supposed to protect.
Is that what's happening in Golem City?
It's happening all over the place. The cops in Golem are a special breed. They control everything here. Food, drugs, neuropazine. And not all of them think very highly of us ours.
These cops, they're looking for members of ARC?
We're all members of ARC to them, one way or another. And some of us may have even done bad things, but not the kind of things the rest of the world says we've done.
Sounds like you support ARC.
Why shouldn't I? The Augmented Rights Coalition was started with the best of intentions, as a non-violent way to confront injustices and advance the cause of augmented rights.
Okay. But in my experience, the best of intentions often go awry.
That may be true, but right now Talus Rucker and ARC are the only things keeping people in Golem alive. Trust me, they're the good guys.
I'm getting the impression that you see ARC and Talos Rucker as some kind of augmented Robin Hoods. How well do you know the man?
I met Talus years ago in India. We were both humanitarian aid volunteers back then.
Is he a good man? The press paints him as a narcissist.
He has his faults, but I wouldn't believe everything you see on Practice News.
Does he visit this area of the complex much?
You know, you've been asking me an awful lot of questions.
It's just that I heard Rucker didn't get augmented voluntarily, so I'm wondering how that kind of experience colors a man's perspective around people who did.
Talus was always passionate about the ability of neuroaugmentations to heal people's bodies and souls. His accident only strengthened his beliefs.
Is he still an idealist, then? After everything that's happened?
Listen to his daily broadcasts. He believes people will usually do the right thing in time. They just need to discover what the right thing is.
I see. Well, thanks for the warning, Doc.
I hope you'll take it to heart.
Block it out. Just block it out.
Look, we are understaffed. Our department and players with the sheer number of
Fuck.
You must submit to an identification scan.
Initiate security scan.
Welcome to Golem City, Clank.
Česky, prosím tě.
It's a wonder the cops haven't chased them.
Access granted.
This most recent act of senseless violence has been laid at our feet. At the feet of all affected. Not simply and I fear the repercussions will test our resolve, the strength of our convictions. We have been cast as the villain once again.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated. Access granted.
Can't do my move, man. happened?
We heard the cops showed up.
He gave them some attitude when they hassled him, but he did not deserve that.
Police minority brutalizing an unarmed majority.
Did you see anything?
Wait a second. A police minority brutalizing an unarmed majority. That sounds possible.
Everywhere we go, leave us alone.
Hang on a second.
Everywhere we go, you knew.
New here? You'll get used to being under the mic's eye.
Well, they did.
Hang on a second.
Well, they did try to set them on fire.
Hey, right. With us or against us? I don't like the cops being here anymore.
Maybe I will. Somebody has to stand up.
When my partner gets here, we'll escort you to our safe house. All the shit that's about to go down, you don't want to be on the streets. The police station will be even worse.
Call yourself, son.
Like
This is an outrage. No, I will not be called. You think? Don't make any
Access granted.